conference was going on, the post-match conference last night. Stewie was in the gymnasium upstairs, actually lifting weights on his shoulder, bringing himself back to sort of full fitness. So obviously he was missed the yesterday, but he'll be back to playing the big one. Not bad after 1 week's out with an AC joint.
No, they're playing
very strong character.
Yeah, West Coast next week at Waverley, and
they know they have to win it.
Yeah, they could be facing a third consecutive loss. Dean Gregg came off injured again yesterday,
and it unleashed Atkins to get 45 possessions for the day. And Dean Gregg has injured the ankle that he had early in the year, so it could be a bit of a problem for Dean Gregg. A wonderful player, a good stopper in the centre, but he'll be out next week for sure.
Okay, he's in trouble. What about Scotty McGuinness? What's his injury situation?
Good news for Hawthorn. They thought he'd done his AC joint yesterday, but overnight it's improved a bit. It's only badly bruising, so it could be a touch and go affair, but he could be right for next week.
Now, the Barry Mitchell saga, he played in the interstate game on Tuesday night. He's going to play against West Coast today. What's the final thing? Remembering he's currently under suspension.
I know. I spoke to the legal men of the league this week. They're still talking to the Swans and their QCs, of course. They don't know what's... I can't find out exactly what's happening. It's very, very confidential. I think there's some sort of compromise being worked out, Bruce, to sort of... squash the whole affair.
Well, it'd be ridiculous to spend a lot of money on something like that.
Would be, yeah.
But you can't set a precedent and let a player get away with being suspended and still playing, and this is a problem the AFL must have.
Maybe another hearing, I'm not too sure, but obviously the court case is a bit of a worry to the AFL.
Craig O'Brien, is he appealing?
No, the St Kilda club hasn't lodged any papers yet for an appeals. Meanwhile, 3 weeks of his suspension are up. He may as well see the thing out now without causing much harm.
Now, the Players Association and their demands on the AFL.
Yes, well, that's going to be a big issue. They've met once. They're going to meet again in August. Superannuation, retirement fund, minimum wage, all these things. It's like a trades hall council there at the AFL now, but it's a very hot issue. Of course, the superannuation fund's going to be a trouble for all clubs, and the retirement fund is another one because they want to take some of the money that the league get from television to use as a retirement fund so players can get something back when they finish their career. The superannuation, of course, they can't get until they're 60 years of age, Bruce. But the Swans issue is very interesting too because they're in a delicate position because the drafting proposal was knocked back last week by the league. They're going to put in another request this week. They're after pre-draft choice, not 2, maybe 4 pre-draft choice. So it's going to be a very touch and go affair at the league with the Swans.
Keep punching, Scotty. You're leaving for Barcelona today. And
I'll be looking for gossip over there in Spain, Bruce.
Well, I better watch out. I'm going to be a good boy when I'm there.
I'll be spooking through the villages.
You'll be snooping, Scotty. Good luck to you, mate.
Good,
Keep
mate.
punching, and I look forward to seeing you in Barcelona.
Terrific.
Scotty Palmer, the professor of propaganda, is about to hit Spain. Watch out, you Spaniards over there. We take a break. The panel after this.
Michelle the tomboy
Kitty, you
and a kidnapped baby.
You'll never see him again. What?
Full House and Dinosaurs tonight on 7.
Experience the ultimate flying machine. The new BMW 3 Series Coupe.
With the rock critics already raving, Scotland's Delamitri deliver one of the best albums of the year. Change Everything, out now.
Here's a news flash from Simmons Wheels. The Mag Wheel Centre with Australia's largest range of mag wheels. Simmons Wheels are now offering mag wheels to approved customers from $10 a week. Yes, $10 a week. Don't miss this fantastic opportunity to fit mag wheels to your car from $10 a week. See Simmons Wheels, the Mag Wheel Centre right now for the best deals on mag wheels and high-performance tyres from $10 a week. Unbelievable. Simmons Wheels, the Mag Wheel Centre, 427 Smith Street, Fitzroy.
With SIO's genuine house and contents insurance package, there's definitely no age limit on contents. SIO's buying guide covers all you need to know. Call SIO for your free copy. SIO, insurance as it should be.
Some people go to extraordinary lengths to achieve a sense of well-being, but you can feel good in your daily life without being a fanatic. Start by giving your body less fat and cholesterol, more protein, energy-giving carbohydrates, essential vitamins and minerals. Try nutritionally balanced Sustagen Light, the cold drink with more of what you need and less of what you don't want. Enlighten yourself. Discover new Sustagen Light.
Coming up, a week with special guest host, the amazing Paula Yates.
I'm hoping it has a certain amount of danger.
She'll be chatting to Warwick Kappa, Elliot Goblet, her husband Sir Bob Geldof, and Jerry Hall.
She's going to wear mink-trimmed split-crotch knickers.
Paula Yates, on Tonight Live.
I'm really looking forward to it.
As you can see, Tony Liberatore as special guest. I'll introduce him in just a moment, but first to the panel, and Bob Davis. Welcome, Bobby. Bobby, Gary Ablett, do you know anything at Geelong that's of any interest to us?
Well, he's been at the physiotherapist for quite a while, Bruce, that's all, but no, nothing since. I think he might be signing a contract or something like that, Bruce, that'll make him stay there for the, till his career's over, but...
I don't just throw it away like that,
no,
Bobby.
Well,
you know something, don't you, Bob?
But you will...
What do you know, Bob? There must be something.
You will hear it first, here and now, that very shortly that the AFL will return to 20-minute quarters.
What, during
time on.
You don't mean in the Foster's Cup, you mean during the normal series?
Actual whole series.
What, we're going to shorten each quarter by 5 minutes?
You'll find that it is one of the...
No. If they do something like that, it won't be a shorter game. What they will do is, at the moment, they don't have time on when the ball goes out into the crowd, the boundary line throw it, unless it's going to be out there for some significant time, which is left to a bit of discretion. There's a lot of time lost there. So if they take that as time out, it would mean, if we didn't alter from 25 minutes, we would be playing for about 40 minutes a quarter.
Right.
Sorry, about 35 minutes a quarter.
Yes.
So this is the reason why it may be, Bobby, may be, that
See, a little secret they had all hidden away to themselves.
It's not all hidden away.
Oh, well, no one knew anything about it, Ron.
Well, do you know why, Bob? Because for people like you who jump on the bandwagon with absolutely half of the facts.
What is wrong with the game for the last 100 years? The time on. What has happened to the time on in all that? Has there been something wrong with that, Ron?
Don't you understand that if a team has the wind and a big ruckman like Madden just knocks the ball out of bounds, he can't be pinged for anything, so it's out of bounds and time is being wasted up, so they win the match by putting out of bounds. Don't you think that's wrong?
And they've won the games for 100 years like that, Ron. And why are you wanting to change it and do something different again?
Bob, do you think that's right?
Yes.
You think it's right to win like that?
If the ruckman is good enough to be able to get the ball out...
How often does that happen, Ron?
Yeah.
Really, it doesn't take place very often in football nowadays. I'd have to agree.
That's a nice little story, Bruce, wasn't it?
I like that one, Bobby. Years the way it is.
The game's going for 100 years with lots of things. The things have changed a lot. But do you really, don't you think we should take into account that playing time is being used up when the ball's over the line? Doesn't that seem silly to you? When you think about it.
It should be taken into account that do happen, that sort of don't happen.
By the way, welcome, Ron. How are you?
I'm very well. And I just wanted to say to the people who watched on Tuesday night on television, congratulations to the 44 players concerned. It was a fantastic game of footy. Victoria weren't the victors, but football was. The old cliche, good for footy.
Yeah, it was. I just wonder, you hated being beaten by Collingwood. Is it worse being beaten by South Australia?
No.
No, okay.
Do those state selectors all have an input with the coaches to what's going on the field, Ron?
When the moves are good and come off...
So you're all unanimous in not putting Crawley on?
Cal and I, when they don't come off, we don't have an input, do we?
Not a thing to do with
Why did Danny... You're an ex-full-back, Cal. Why did Danny Frawley go over there if you sat him on the bench all night and didn't get a run? When Kernahan was going berserk.
Is there a rule that says he must get a run?
There's no rule, but he's a natural full-back, and you played a guy who is not a full-back on the best, one of the best forwards in Australia.
We did a lot of research on performances man on man, and we found that Bayes has got a very good record on Kernahan, whether it be at centre half back or full back, which could have happened but didn't on Tuesday night. That Kernahan
so now we're playing on statistics now entirely, are we?
Truthful, I wasn't unhappy with the performance of Mark Bayes.
Mark Bayes has been in poor form for a month.
I would have, and Danny hasn't had a great month either.
But he's a natural full-back, Cal.
I would not have liked to be in the shoes of Mark Bayes. I thought he performed creditably.
He did well, Mark Bayes.
It's just unfortunate that Danny Fawley found himself in a situation we couldn't slot him in anywhere else during the game.
Okay, well, that's interesting. Did the telephone break down in the second term, Ron, between the coach and the... Because surely there had to be a couple of moves. I mean, Steins onto Hines. Hines just tore Victoria apart in that second term on a slow ruckman in wind. I'm not being facetious.
Well, you sometimes give a player a chance. Maybe it could have been done. I agree with that. Maybe it could have been done. I think that's
I thought it was a turning point in the match, didn't you?
Well...
And Nailey coming on.
It's a little bit hard. Well, Nailey coming on. A guy from a bolt from the blue, so to speak. He's a guy who says he's best for playing against Victoria.
We didn't have statistics on him.
It was a bit hard to rearrange things to sort of fix up.
Didn't we have statistics on him, Ron?
It was quite interesting. It was settled. Okay, we'll leave it all. Welcome, Peter, and welcome, Kel. Tony, welcome to the program. Tony Liberatore, the Brownlow medalist from a couple of years ago. Man who's won the Morrish medal, the Gardner medal, the Brownlow medal, last year's Footscray Best and Fairest. Gee, Livers is a fair bit there, isn't there?
You've got enough room on your chest, Tony, for all those medals.
Feel like a war hero, I guess, when you go home at night.
Well, actually, Dougie Hawkins says I've got more medals than Audie Murphy, so...
Hey, and Livers, you're taller than Audie Murphy, too.
Yeah, I think I might be.
He's only 5'4", and he's dead and you're alive. Yeah. That's very important to you. Livers, last year, you had a knee operation at the start of the year, didn't you? And it just put you behind the... I know you played every game last year, but even though you won Footscray's Best and Fairest, you seem to not have the year that you've had this year and also the year before. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, the operation was actually done towards the end of 1990, and my recovery was quite good, and we did a hell of a lot of physiotherapy on it, and you know, I had great surgeons in David Young and so on, and I really worked hard to get myself right, and you know, I guess I didn't have a pre-season last year, and I certainly find my fitness this year has been a key factor for my performance so far.
And Livy, you've had a couple of knockbacks on your road to fame and success. Has that been a driving force for you to prove people wrong, or you just gone along and love your footy and have a go anyway?
Yeah, I guess it's, I mean, a bit of both, I'd say. You know, there have been a lot of, I guess, ups and downs in my career, but I mean, I think you just take it all in stride, and I mean, I love my football as much as I have when I was playing as a junior footballer, and I mean, whether I play, I mean, obviously playing senior football is the most important thing, but even playing reserve football, you know, I give 110%, and I certainly enjoy my football, yeah.
Libba, when you had the operation, is the trauma before the operation, you know, thinking, am I ever going to come back again, or how did you really get through that? What was, give us some feelings about that.
Yeah, especially before the actual operation was probably one of the hardest things to take. And to think that, you know, like your knee might always give you trouble, and probably down the track there might be a few complications with the knee. But once it was done, I think the advice and the confidence I got from my surgeon was just fantastic, and I think he's one of the best in his field, and I really sort of owe him a lot, because I mean, he's helped me along.
How long did it take you to feel that you were on the recovery, on the right recovery?
Probably once I played my first practice match, which was probably about only 5 or 6 months down the track, and it was quite a quick recovery. I put in a lot of hard work into the knee, and getting a few knocks on it, and I can remember the first game in 90 when I think I pinched a muscle in the actual knee, and it was giving me a fair bit of complaints, and I was very worried about it, but you know, I just got a bit of blood taken out of it, and after that I was quite fine, so.
Well, Tony, it's a great thing.
Tony, when there's so much emphasis, I'm talking about a team situation, on speed, and looking at the Footscray lineup, I wouldn't say they're exactly or the fastest side, man for man, in the competition. Where do you generate that speed to send you on up the top of the ladder?
Yeah, well, I guess, you know, guys like myself and Simon Atkins aren't the quickest players in the league, although it's not so much, I think, speed in actually running away with the ball most days. I think if you can think quick in your mind, and you know, be quick with your hands and quick with your kicks, I think that's very important in today's football. And I think what also is very important is one-on-one football, and that's the way we've been playing this year, and that's what's been stressed to us
So
by Kerry
movement on the
Wheeler.
ball and keeping possession is just important as sheer pace.
Definitely, yeah.
Tony, you lost a number of players at selection Thursday night. You must have tremendous reserves there to be able to bring players in almost as good.
Yeah, well, we did lose, you know, 5 or 6 players through injury, and that was a fairly big blow. But the guys that did come in were fantastic players for us yesterday. Guys have probably only had 5 or 6 games, like Rowan Smith and Steve Critic, and you know Matthew Mansfield has had a few injuries, and there is a hell of a lot of depth down at Footscray, which we really haven't had in the past couple of years, and I think we've recruited very well.
Tony, we'll just introduce Don Scott, who's joined us in Perth this morning. He's over there for the game this afternoon. Don, thanks very much for coming in. We've got Tony Liberatore. Your votes firstly, Don, and then we'll have some highlights and you throw some questions around with the panel to Tony.
Right, well, I gave 3 votes to Simon Atkins in the centre. I thought he was probably the best player on the ground, but then it was a toss-up and very hard to find 2 and 1. But I went for Russell Morris, although his opponent, Coleman, did particularly well for Footscray at centre-half forward. He certainly didn't lower his colours. And Nicky Winmar had a sensational first quarter. He had the compliment of Frost being moved onto him to stop him on the half-back line. Then they had to use Winmar up forward. Then they used him up in the centre of the ground in the last quarter to get some movement. But there are a lot of other players. I thought that Liberatore, Tony was good. Burke Harvey was sensational in the first quarter. Dwyer for St Kilda was also instrumental, but it was a very, very even game. It was a real slog, and I think that Footscray got away because they ran past a little bit better. They were quicker with their hands. There's Coleman, a focal point, and Liberatore's disposal of the ball was particularly good, but the conditions weren't good. Very windy. The ground, well, as you can see there, it was heavy, and I think that the pressure from the players put on one another around midfield allowed the ball not to be delivered in the best way. That was a shocking kick, but Del Rey up forward, he was probably a difference. Like Lockett down one end really doesn't move around enough, and they had to move Winmar down to the forward line to at least get some movement in the forward line, whereas Del Rey's prepared to come up the ground. At one stage he was up on the centre square in the last quarter, and he set it up with a handball, and I think that finished in a goal. Footscray, it's the first time I've seen them, and I was really impressed with them. We've got some good youngsters. I'll quickly mention them. Smith, who came on, really was cut apart by Winmar. Frost a goer, but he's got to learn to clean up his disposal. Critiuk, I think he went on to Harvey on the wing and certainly limited him, and Ballantyne up forward. Good players. I was impressed with Footscray.
Don, would you like to throw a question at Tony, who's in here this morning?
Tony, was it a plan to go? I've seen Footscray in 2 weeks now, and Lockett didn't move around last week at the MCG, and he didn't move yesterday. Was it a plan to drop Wine back there, or is that what he has been doing week after week, Scott Wine?
I guess it really wasn't. Oh, yeah, it was worked out to be a little bit like that, although Barry Stanfield, you know, you've probably seen the replay, cut off a few of the leads off Tony Lockett, and he, you know, he had his fist to the ball on a number of occasions. So I think it was a bit of both, but Scotty does play when there's a good full forward. He does sort of play a little bit backward of centre.
You certainly lift your tackling up too, Tony. Has that been something of the Footscray side? As I said, it's the first time I've seen them play, and your tackling was absolutely fantastic. You mentioned earlier in your interview, man on man, so it's obviously been a conscious effort by the guys to play more or less old-fashioned football.
Oh, yeah, I guess so. You know, I mean, you look at the Eagles when they've sort of played their football, you look at how well, I guess, Moldhouse has put their team into perspective with their man-on-man, and that's basically what it all boils down to. If you can beat your opponent, and if your side wins more on those one-on-one contests, then more likely that I think that side will win the game.
Liver, putting your career ahead by about 10 years, you're a coach, you've got to stop Simon Atkins. Do you put a stopper on him or a really talented player?
Don't tell him.
That's confidential information, right?
Remember, he's going to be the chairman of selectors for North Melbourne next year.
He can answer this. He's very good.
Yep. Well, it's hard to say. I mean, because I've seen Simon play, and they've had stoppers on him in the past, and he hasn't probably performed as well. And then there's other days that stoppers who can't run with him tend to sort of drop off him. So maybe I would probably maybe have more of I guess a little bit of a stopper on him, but I mean, if Simon's firing and if he's running up and down the ground, and if this stopper can't sort of man him up, then I think he'll have a hell of a lot of trouble.
Livers, we've got to leave it there. Good luck. Can you visualise the premiership this year?
Oh, sure. I mean, I think every club in the six can visualise a premiership, although, I mean, we've set our goals for 16 wins of the season. Once the season's over, then we'll reassess our goal for the finals, and we'll just take it like that.
Libbers, good luck for the rest of the year.
Thanks very
Tony
much.
Liberatore. Don, thank you for joining us in Perth. Good calling.
Good, Bruce.
And it was rumoured that you had a bloke sitting on your lap in a taxi in Adelaide on Tuesday night after the State of Origin. But,
Yes, I did. His name was Sean, and he is an absolute nuisance, Bruce. How you put up with him is beyond me.
Well, Bruce, I couldn't think of any woman who wanted to sit in his lap anyway, besides his wife.
Scotty, good calling, and we'll talk to you later on in the program. Not today, though. We'll take a break. Back with more after this.
Presenting the Olympic coverage, AMP will always be there.
13 days to go.
She's the mother of two, whose remarkable achievements have become an inspiration to everyone.
The fire inside still burns, and it's that fire that takes you to success.
Through Channel 7, all Australia will be cheering for Lisa Curry-Kenny as she goes for gold.
The Olympic Games begin July 25 on the 7 network.
If you have a bad sore throat, here's some good news. New Biocol contains active ingredients that not only help numb the pain of a sore throat, they can help it disappear. New Biocol numbs the pain of a bad sore throat.
Hey, it's about time to make you feel good. So sit back, relax, and have some love and affection. Let's talk it over with Grace and Hugh.
Can we talk it over in bed?
Wet, wet, wet. Spandau Ballet. Gloria Estefan. Southern Sons. Taylor Dane. Air Supply. Joan Armour Trading. With love and affection. 17 superb love songs out now on Hitbound.
Channel 7 took no chances when selecting the camera equipment to bring the Barcelona Olympics to your home. They went for the best. Now you too can capture those once-in-a-lifetime moments with state-of-the-art technology from Hitachi. Your choice of formats with the features that make Hitachi the world standard in video cameras. Take no chances with your special events. Choose the camera that will let you relive the emotion again and again. Go one better. Hitachi. Available from Michael's Camera and Video, Swanson Duty Free, Ringwood Camera and Video, Geelong Camera House.
When you've got really serious work to do, it might not be enough to just have a big V6 under the bonnet. That's why Mitsubishi proudly bring you the new Triton 3-litre V6 cab chassis with four-wheel drive. The new Triton V6. Have a think about it. Or as the boys at Mitsubishi might say, please consider.
There are massive reductions at Katie's final sale, but be quick before everything disappears.
Welcome back. Hawthorn's now lost three, although just won 3 of its last 7 matches. They've lost 4 in the last 7, and Carlton has beaten them twice. Yesterday at Waverley, Peter McKenna was out there. Gee, you must have been upset to see your team get beaten, Pete.
What do you mean by my team, Bruce? My team won. You've forgotten about my great career at Carlton.
Actually, I have, to be honest.
Yeah,
How long did it last,
Most
Peter?
people have, actually. You should too. 10 games. 10 games, as a matter of fact, but a great win. It was a terrific... Oh, look, I've forgotten how many goals, Ron. It was 30-something. A great win by Carlton, actually, because they play well against Hawthorn and out
Is that due to Parkin's knowledge?
What knowledge? No, I think it's due to the players. The players lifted gear against Hawthorn, and they were ferocious yesterday. They manned up and they had a fair dinkum go, and they were terrific. On that great bog heap at AFL Park, which is no doubt is the worst ground in the competition. Fancy the Hawthorn side kicking 8 goals for a whole match, and Carlton kicking only 10, and that's due to the ground conditions. As we have a look at the votes for the game now, Earl Spalding, that's one of the greatest blunders of all time by Melbourne to let Spalding go. He is a real goer, fights hard for the ball, and when it got tough in the last quarter, Spalding was doing all the hard work. Darren Pritchard is in great form the last couple of weeks. He tried desperately to lift the Hawks, and of course, best man on the ground, Adrian Gleeson, he was fantastic all over the ground. And you know, there were some interesting matchups right from the start. Hogg picked up Platten, and Johnny Platten tried his heart out, and eventually in the third quarter he was put across the half-back line by Alan Joyce. Here's Carlton with the loose man here now. Welsh got around Chris Mew very, very easily there, far too easily. Hannah beat Tony Hall pointless. Williams and Condon had a good duel.
Spalding arthritic knees. How'd he get on? How'd he go?
Well, Greg Williams played reasonably well. I thought Condon had the better of him in the first half, then Condon got a cork thigh. But Greg Williams, well, he got the ball a lot, but he wasn't a decisive player, Ron.
Now, you had Hudson, Hall, Deer and Burton getting 2 goals between them. Now, was this their lack of form, or they beaten, or the pressure, or what was it?
Well, I think Carlton have got a very, very good defence. David Kernahan always does well on Jason Dunstall, but they drop Rowan Welsh back about 20 metres in front of Dunstall, as Sheedy does when Lockett's playing against Essendon. And it just didn't give him that space to come up the middle. Paul Hudson did reasonably well. Tony Hall had a shocker. Paul Deer was quiet. And
Dermy.
Well, Dermy was completely underdone, started on the bench, came on, and he should really have started in the second, Dermy, and played a couple of games in the second.
There's some big defensive tactics by both coaches, because you can't blame the surface of the ground on that low scoring.
Well, you can.
You've got Kernahan, Dunstall, 2 of the best forwards in the league, if not the best 2. Hall slipping around there, Brereton.
Doesn't the ball move from the ground?
Surely they'd kick more than 15 goals between 2 sides.
Kelvin, down the flanks, you can look at it there, down the flanks of Waverley, the ball just sits, it won't run. And Hawthorn are a side that rely on running the ball.
The Teal Cup kicked 9 goals in the last quarter.
Yes, and it was a low-scoring game for 3 quarters in the Teal Cup, and the kids couldn't get their legs out of the mud. But now the ground's an absolute disgrace.
In the last quarter, the kids would be going up and down to one spot. If what you say is true, the ground is not in good condition.
You can't judge by the Teal Cup.
Well, but you can score goals quickly.
Well, I have seen...
They couldn't in the seniors, Peter, because of the pressure all round. It was a very pressurised game, a lot of tackling, a lot of close play.
The Hawthorn Football Club, with one of the best forward lines in the league, kicked 4 goals, with the 2 quarters kicking with a 5-goal breeze.
Is that all good defence? Them or exposed their forward line?
The ground is a disgrace, Ron.
It should have a lot of money spent, and I'm sure it will, like maybe $500,000, but it's still okay at the moment. It's just very, very soft.
But full marks to Carlton. As I said, it was a terrific win, and I think they were a little bit harder than Hawthorn yesterday. They were far more determined. That's why they won the game.
MCG not being used for this round either, and
I mean, that's a joke. The MCG not being used yesterday.
Bobby, we've got to go on. Interestingly too, the Dunstall's kicked 2 goals and 4 goals against Carlton in the 2 matches so far, so they've done a good job on Dunstall. And he's kicked 12 and 9 against Geelong in his 2 matches. What a difference! But Geelong must have been pretty good yesterday. But gee, times have changed a bit. Melbourne beat them earlier in the year, and since then Geelong's won 12 matches and Melbourne's won 3.
Yes, that's a bit unusual, but at the start of the game it appeared as though Melbourne may have had the edge on them once again, because they did start very well and had control of the quarter for at least, well, 18 minutes of it. But luckily for Geelong, Hinkley suddenly regained, got touch and got into the game, and then stopped them almost on the half-back line. Miles went to full forward, and while he led well and gave them some direction, because Billy Brownless, I think, is a fraction out of sorts or out of touch or something, and Miles did the work there, and Riccardi, who came back in, added a lot of pace in that to the side, and they were the votes.
Now, you gave Miles votes, Bob. Can you see Miles continuing as the permanent full forward?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if they play him there for another 2 or 3 weeks. It gives them another avenue. I don't think he's
playing there, but would you see him as good enough to continue?
Well, it depends on Brownless's form, I should imagine. He's probably going to edge Brownless out while Brownless is not. Obviously, it was a desire yesterday for Miles to do the leading and marking.
Why isn't Brownless a better player?
Well, I think that Billy is a very nice, casual country boy who, unfortunately, hasn't got the real desire.
Well, he's running out of years in which to start getting a different attitude, hasn't he?
Yeah, some people are like that, though, Ron. They are. They're not.
You should have a talk to him.
Look, I do talk to Billy, but we don't talk about the football. We enjoy ourselves, Ron, talking together.
Bob, is it still a little bit of a worry for Geelong, the fact that in the first term Melbourne could have something like 14 shots at goal against their defence?
It was, and I mean...
It must be a worry.
See, Bruce brought that, Ron brought that. We keep producing forwards all the time, but we cannot produce a backman at all.
Except Hinkley.
Well, yeah, but Hinkley's out on the... And McGrath, who actually last week, I think the team was perhaps structured wrongly, and McGrath is a great half-back flanker and gives tremendous run, as Hinkley does. And when you destroy it, you destroy it a bit. But Geelong, after quarter time, really did play very well. And apart from Steins and Obst, who was doing quite well early, and a couple of the Lovetts, I don't know, you know.
But Miles a week late.
He might have been a week late, to be truthful, yes. But it's unusual that you would start a fellow at full forward, Brian, and then play him full back.
Yes, well, it's unusual too. He hadn't kicked a goal all
Not
season.
these days.
Hadn't kicked a goal all season in 9 matches, and he kicked 7 yesterday. We take a break. North and Richmond, that thriller with Curl Moore after the break.
Mr. Clean inherits the biggest, meanest, ugliest dog in town. Tom Hanks in Turner and Hooch, 8:30 Monday on 7.
Here's a news flash from Simmons Wheels. The Mag Wheel Centre with Australia's largest range of mag wheels. Simmons Wheels are now offering mag wheels to approved customers from $10 a week. Yes, $10 a week. Don't miss this fantastic opportunity to fit mag wheels to your car from $10 a week. See Simmons Wheels, the Mag Wheel Centre right now for the best deals on mag wheels and high-performance tyres from $10 a week. Unbelievable. Simmons Wheels, the Mag Wheel Centre, 427 Smith Street, Fitzroy.
Black Magic. Every song a classic. The very best of the Platters, the Drifters, the Ink Spots, and the Mills Brothers. 40 hits to remember from J&B.
Install a ream for the hottest of hot water you've ever seen. Ream comes on steady, hot and strong. When your old heat is dead and gone, install a ream, install a ream, install a ream.
It's easy to dress up any house and contents insurance package to look the same. Lots of insurance policies promise new for old replacement, but most have severe age limits on contents. 5 years is useless. 10 years is not much better. But SIO's plain English policy is different. There's definitely no age limit, just genuine new replacement, and no need to prove how old things were. For genuine house and contents insurance, call SIO. Insurance as it should be.
It took Honda to perfect variable valve technology. VTEC, now powering the new Honda CRX with two-way rooftop and ABS brakes. You really can leave it all behind. The all-new CRX at your Honda dealer now.
Only one place can really light your fire.
Only you can make all this world seem right. Only you and you alone can thrill me like you do, and to fill my heart with love.
North Melbourne kicked 8 goals to 1 in the second quarter against Richmond. Then they kicked the first 3 goals of the third quarter. They looked home and hosed, yet they won by a point. Moore, what happened? Did they relax, or did Richmond really fire up?
Well, a bit of both, because it was a game of fluctuating fortunes, as if you were there, you'd know full well. But they got away to a flying start. The Tigers kicked 6 goals in the first term, 3 each to their key position players in Hogg and Gale at centre-half forward. But the best player on the ground I gave to Chris Naish, who played on the wing. He was was a good player last week against Collingwood and added a bit of bite on that centre line. Wayne Carey, it was a bit of deja vu for him. There's a lot of similarities between yesterday's game and the state game, and was a very influential player in the dying moments. And I gave 1 to Alex Ashenko. I think has added a bit of presence and stability to the ruck division. But as I said, they got away to a flying start. But North, as so often happens, were able to ram on 8 quick goals in that second term to take full control. And when they added 3...
With the wind, or...?
Well, the wind was going down that bottom end of the screen, as you see now, and that's where most of the scoring was done during the game. And that second term, 8 goals and 11 for the first half, was without any input from the full forward in John Longmire, but he came good and kicked those 3 goals in the early part of the third term, and they looked to have a stranglehold on it. But thanks to Naish, Lambert, the smaller players, Waitman and Turner, late in that third quarter, added 3 goals, gave Richmond a little bit of a sniff, even though well behind, but they certainly finished on very well. And unfortunately, it was, as I said, Carey again kicked 3 goals, 3 of the 4, and had a hand, which is this one here, took a mark, he'll handball off, and an easy goal to North. And unfortunately for the Tigers, they let themselves down with easy goals like that when the game had to be won.
Jeff Hogg versus Michael Martin. How was that duel?
Well, full points to Hogg in the first quarter, kicked 3 goals of his 4 for the day, but then I thought Michael Martin battled very hard and took control. And to all the Richmond supporters or North Melbourne supporters, that free kick definitely was there, and unfortunately Hoggy just was unable to convert as German was earlier in the term.
If you read between the lines, it could be said that North were a bit lucky to be 3.5 goals up at half-time. Would that be right?
Oh, yes and no. As I said, it was that fluctuating fortune. North of that sort of side, a very attacking side, and 3 goals is not a big lead by any means.
Is Maish a comer?
Yes, I think he is a comer. He's got another string to his bow. He's handy around goals and now doing very well across the centre line.
We must leave that one, Kel. Sorry, I know you were going to go on. Bobby, you've got strict instructions. You're not allowed to ask that question, whatever you do. Commercial break for that one. Let's go and join Ian Robertson, who's in Queensland at the moment. He was calling last night's game. An entertaining game, Rob. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Brisbane, we've seen it before, very competitive for 2.5 to 3 quarters and just fading away at the end. But good work by Collingwood in the last quarter.
Well, I think you've summed it up pretty well, Bruce. If they had Rocker, Dacos, maybe Monkhorst in the Brisbane Bears uniforms, it may have been a different result. But it's a pity that Alex Ischenko is receiving votes for North Melbourne because he's a big, strong fellow and with an attitude like he's got down there in Victoria. If he had that in Brisbane, I'm sure he'd help Robert Walls and his men. I thought Monkhorst turned the game. Scott Russell played very well after shrugging the tag. And I eventually gave Monkhorst the 3 votes. It was a very difficult game for the vote giving, but Noonan was terrific in his tag, and Scott Russell eventually, as I said, shrugged the tag and was very prominent in the Magpies' second half. But you mentioned this is the man who's an absolute marvel. He kicked 5 goals. Gastev played quite a good game on Dacos, but still Peter Dacos was able to sneak away and kick a few goals. You saw Gavin Brown there, about 80% fit if that's an exaggeration. He really struggled. He had about half a dozen or 8 kicks, and it was a crime to watch a player of his talents struggle in a match like it was last night. Robert Walls was quite critical of Mark Zanotti. In the finish, he took a mark or got a free kick about 15 or 20 metres out, and the struggle that his fellow players made to get the ball to him, and then it was just an absolutely shocking kick. And he thought that, this is Robert Walls thought, that they were perhaps a 3-goal inferior side to Collingwood in the finish and not the 6 goals, 3 or 39 points that it showed on the scoreboard.
Now, Robbo,
yep, perhaps.
You mentioned Alex Ischenko's changed attitude down here in Melbourne with North Melbourne. Now, the coach has had a go at the attitude of his players in that he says none of them, I suppose that means hardly any of them, do extra training on the nights off.
This is the Brisbane Bears, Barras?
Yes.
Well, I believe, after having quite a good chat to 2 or 3 of the people around the Brisbane Bears last night, that they are a very, very enthusiastic bunch, and I think Robert Walls is on the right track. It's very difficult. I'm sure you can understand when you go to move to surface paradise, it really is a holiday atmosphere, and I think that's the biggest problem that they've got to get over. I'm quite confident that when they move to Brisbane to play their matches, that they certainly will be a much better side, much more disciplined, and that is a very key thing as well.
Is that why you stayed overnight?
Well, I was
holiday atmosphere.
Well, I was quite disciplined, Barassi. I'm sure you can appreciate that. But we got up here and we're doing the right thing, and it's been a terrific 24 hours, and it was just a bit disappointing, as it was 2 weeks ago for the Brisbane Bears, and they couldn't hold on against Hawthorn. It was quite promising for about 3 quarters last night, and they just didn't have the numbers in the finish, and the Magpies are sitting nicely in 3rd spot.
Haven't seen you look so healthy for ages, Robbo, and I guess the query to the Magpies is if they can cover Kelly and kick enough goals up forward. Thanks, Robbo, for that report, and we'll see you next week, mate.
Good, Bruce.
Ian Robertson. Now, last Sunday, Sydney Fitzroy, Robbo worked this game as well with Bernie Quinlan. Bernie's votes were Cormac 3, Gale 2, and Abbott 1. Fitzroy cleaning up there, 3, 2 and 1. So progressive votes at the moment. Atkins with a clear lead, 21. There were 3 votes yesterday. Lowe with 15, missing out, but coming back, as Scotty Palmer's told us next week, Jarman with 14. Don't forget that book, Just for Kicks. It's a terrific read, lots of funny stories. A number of the panel members are featured here, as well as your favourite players. Bookstores and news agents. We take a break, back with more after this.
An elite commando unit, highly trained, highly dangerous. Charlie Sheen, Aliens, Michael Biehn, Navy SEALs. Premieres tonight on 7.
Ralph, Got a minute?
Yeah, sure. Let it fly, mate. Oh, sorry.
Huh?
Bad joke.
What does extinct mean?
It means we don't exist anymore. Well, we used to be just endangered.
Australia's animals are under threat. So to mark our 175th birthday, Westpac has released this special collection of wildlife medallions to raise money for the Worldwide Fund for Nature.
Dead.
They're available through any Westpac branch.
Branch. What I wouldn't give to be back in a branch.
To develop the most advanced four-wheel drive in the world, we tested it in the most rugged country on Earth.
If you insulate your home this winter, Energy Victoria calculates you'll save up to 40% on your heating bills. By getting your insulation from Mitre 10, you'll save even more. Because at Mitre 10, Bradford R2.5 insulation bats are just $21.95 per half square pack. That's right, just $21.95. And for every 10 squares you purchase, Mitre 10 will give you $40 cash back. So to insulate your home,
You can ask Mitre 10, they've got the lot.
just ask Mitre 10.
Hey, it's about time to make you feel good. So sit back, relax, and have some love and affection. Let's talk it over with Grace and Hugh.
Can we talk it over in bed?
Wet, wet, wet. Spandau Ballet. Gloria Estefan.
How it cuts both ways.
Southern Sons. Taylor Dane. Air Supply. Joan Armour Trading. With love and affection. 17 superb love songs out now on Hitbound.
From the outback of Australia, you can see the lights of Paris. From Mount Fuji, you can see the skyscrapers of Manhattan. And from the Kansas heartland, you can see the heart of England. You can see it all on United, because our wings now span more than half the world. Come fly the airline that's uniting the world. Come fly the friendly skies.
A massive doubleheader today. Live, Fitzroy and Essendon's last fight for the six. Plus live, West Coast at home against Sydney. A live double noon today.
Welcome back. Two high flyers to have a look at the marks of the week. Kel Moore and Peter McKenna.
The Mark of the Week and the Mark of the Year are proudly brought to you by Mitsubishi Motors.
Yes, leading off we have St Kilda's David Grant, who has unquestionable courage and under heavy traffic there. A tremendous mark.
The next mark, Little Libbo. Look, 2 bites. It shows his usual determination.
And ex-Hawk, Big Lawrence Bingham here. Nice mark, 2 grabs, completes a pretty handy mark.
A promising young player for Footscray is Rowan Smith. Have a look at that. Back with the flight. That takes a lot of courage. Great mark.
Yes, and Gow has often has these types of marks, the 1 and 2. I'm not sure if he controlled it long enough.
Darren Crocker from the back kept his eyes on it and was awarded the mark.
And best on ground yesterday has a perfect sit, Chris Nace in classic style.
Jimmy Steins, who was on crutches during the week, have a look at this for a mark, and he is back in tip-top form. Terrific mark at the centre of the pack.
Yes, and last night over here over at Carrara, we have Steve McGluckley, and just shows the importance of front position, particularly for a smaller player.
And unusual to see Mark Zanotti down the forward line. Have a look at this as he flies from the back. Pity his kicking wasn't as good as his marking. He looked very happy about that, but Kel and I both decided that the winner was David Grant. And when we have a look at it again in replay, you will see the courage of David Grant under extreme pressure. 2 Footscray players. But look at that, in front and still held onto a terrific mark.
Good on you, David. You join some of the other round-by-round winners, including Wanganeen, Caverton, Darren Jarman, Ridley, Winmar, your teammate. Goals of the week. I should point out that Tony Hall's goal is not eligible, the goal from Tuesday night, that sensational goal for goals of the week in the State of Origin. In just a moment, Bob and Ron to have a look at the goals of the week.
The Goal of the Week and the Goal of the Year are brought to you by BP. BP, on the move.
We see Fitzroy and the Swans and Jamie Lawson bringing a regulation goal back. Quite a nice kick and puts it through. Quite a good goal.
And here's Minton Connell. There's very little space here. Almost got the ball stuck between the posts.
Oh, what a clever story, Ron. And here's Brian Royal, who actually has developed into a marvellous goal sneak, and he's got around, made himself balanced and put through a very nice goal.
And here's Brian Royal again, a suggestion of a blind turn here, just a suggestion, and a beautiful sneak goal by the forward pocket specialist. And that's what Brian Royal has become.
And I don't know if I'm really qualified to speak on this one because I don't regard these as great goals, but I must say, if it was a round ball, it would have been a great goal. Pele would have been proud. And we go for Minton Connell because it was really a very nice goal. And as you said, Ron, it could have got jammed between the posts. The angle was so
acute.
It's
a Jack Dyer line, isn't it?
It is, very good.
Good on you, Minton Connell. Well done to you last week joining the Kickets. And Kicker himself, just the one there, Kemp, Mensch and Gale. And the goal kickers to date, 106 for Dunstall. Lockett still not out of this for the leading goal kicker. He's on 91 and 61 for Kernahan and 53 for Ablett. Del Rey, the big mover yesterday with 48. Well, the Tony Hall goal wasn't eligible, but let's have one more look at it because it was quite extraordinary. Ron, I wanted to see Ron and Phil cry just a little bit. Why not? Have a look at this. Ken Hinkley and Tony Hall, they had a terrific duel, didn't they, on Tuesday night? And well, Peter McKenna, I should ask, because he kicked more goals than anyone else at the table. Peter, is this one of the great goals you've seen?
Well, it was fantastic. Man on man, he just hipped Hinkley out of the way. Now, that was a check side kick or a boomerang kick, and he did have a look, and he's a South Australian, and they have perfected that kick. Top goal by Tony Hall.
I wonder why the South Australians call it check side.
They've done well.
But they always have a Jack...
No, but why? Table, Ron.
And they call it trial games and all sorts of funny lingo over there.
Oh, we say a lot of things. It came in with Jack Odie and Sturt. Ron, I haven't got time to go into it. But
trial game makes sense because it is a sort of a trial.
They have a budget in Adelaide, not a record.
And they stand them, don't they?
I don't understand the check side.
No, OK, I don't really
I've only got 2 words, Bruce. Fitzroy and Eagles.
Fitzroy to beat Essendon and the Eagles to beat Sydney. Ron, do you agree with Bob?
Essendon, Eagles.
I agree with Bob. I'll go Fitzroy and Eagles.
And I'll go the Bombers and the Eagles.
Do any of you give Fitzroy or Essendon a chance of making the 6? Either of them if they win today?
Yes, a slight chance.
Okay.
Very slight.
Fair enough. It's been a pleasure, gentlemen.
Mathematically, Ron, yes.
By the way, Bobby, you won the 3 votes today. Ron won 2 for asking the most questions, and Curl and Peter tied for 1 each. After the break, Brian Smith to bring us up to date.
A royal family in crisis. 2 women at the centre of the controversy.
They're marrying commoners, and it doesn't seem to work.
What started with great expectations now seems to have gone terribly wrong. Why?
Emotionally, he's immature.
Who's to blame?
They didn't have a mother in the real sense of the word.
What does royalty do when the wife wants out?
She's to sit at home and cry.
The most controversial royal special ever. 8:30 Wednesday, the premiere of Diana and Fergie, A Paradise Lost.
At last, a massive breakthrough in power sanding technology. Patented and built in Germany, Sanderflex is engineered with a flexible shaft that ensures smooth, effortless sanding. Slippery sanders can be positively dangerous, but Sanderflex just can't get away. Sand down walls, doors, in fact, any flat surface, just like an expert. Tighten vis control for professional results on round corners, or this valuable chair. These specially designed pads attach with Velcro. Seconds to put on, but come off only when you want. Outlast ordinary pads by 100 times, or we'll replace them free of charge. Nail-infested timber is no match for Sanderflex. It'll even remove rust. Even cleaning is amazing. Watch. We'll even include this genuine lamb's wool buffer. Clean windows or polish the car for an effortless mirror finish. Plus this patented clever clamp. Fitting most drills, you move it every which way to sharpen lawnmower blades. Scissors. Your favorite knife. Or an axe. Even this steel file won't damage our super pads. Use Sanderflex for grinding, polishing, de-rusting, sanding, or sharpening. It's an entire system for just $49.95. Ring now, but don't send any money. That's right, do not send any money. We'll bill you. Ring 008 023 025. Want more? How about this handy power pump? Empty fish tanks, drains, washing machines, blocked sinks. Use it to empty sumps, waterbeds, on the boat. You'll wonder how you ever did without power pump. And it's yours for just $2 with Sanderflex, 4 super tough pads, lamb's wool polisher, plus the clever clamp. An entire tool shop for just $49.95. Together with the power pump for just $2 extra. Ring now. But don't send any money. That's right. Do not send any money. We'll bill you. Ring 008 023 025.
Daihatsu call their applause the unstretched limousine because it's literally loaded with features. In fact, the Daihatsu Applause RI has so many performance, comfort and safety features, there's almost nothing left for you to do but sit back and enjoy the superb ride. So take the unstretched limousine for a test drive at your nearest Daihatsu dealer soon. And you're sure to ask yourself, how did they fit in so much car for so little money?
Almost at the end of another program. Brian Smith has rejoined us because there's a few things happening overseas. Still happening, and we start on golf and the American tournament being played, Brian.
Well, that's right. It's a $1 million tournament, Bruce. We don't have any Australian interest in that particular tournament, but Ed Doherty's leading. It's, as I said, he's had 201. That's not bad. Rounds of 66, 69 and 66. So the low scores seem to be the order of the day these days. Curtis Strange is just 4 strokes off the pace over there at Williamsburg in Virginia.
We saw some low scores in Monte Carlo last week. We've seen some very low scores in the Scottish Open. And if the people have just joined us, it's been a terrific story for Australia.
Well, it certainly has. The 27-year-old former greenkeeper, they call him former greenkeeper now, from Bathurst in New South Wales, Peter O'Malley, has won his first tournament. He's picked up $260,000 in the Scottish Open, so it was certainly a fantastic effort. And the other Australians, Craig Parry was the defending champion. He was 11 under the card. Roger Davison, Peter Senior finished 9 under the card. So good rounds from Parry, Davison Senior, but Peter O'Malley the man of the moment.
Means he goes automatically into the British Open. Australia now has 10 players,
that's right,
with the chance for a few others to qualify. And well, we've got a lot of interest. That starts on Thursday. Olympic Games, there's been a number of athletes that have been suspended in the last 2 or 3 weeks. We've heard about Butch Reynolds. This was a couple of years ago. Kami Kashmiri, the leading discus thrower, has gone from the United States, and there's been another story come through this morning.
Well, has Cheryl Thibodeau. She wasn't named in the Canadian team. She failed the qualifications, but she was found to have used anabolic steroids after failing 2 random tests in June. The interesting part about this, she was mentioned about the same time as Ben Johnson.
Right, I know.
Has possibly
Brian,
been on.
Yeah, I know the Nigerians have left out 6, including Opara and Ajunwa, for some irregularities, and the South Koreans have left out 6. So perhaps the countries are wanting it to happen before they actually get there and don't want to have another Ben Johnson situation.
Well, that's right. There was also that situation with Kenya where they dropped 4 of their best runners and then had to reinstate.
Yes,
a little embarrassing.
Yes, and I mean, we've had the poor Michelle Locke. I really feel for her this week, as I said earlier, but Sharon Stewart also would be a worthy representative. So selection's always tough, mate.
Well, they always are. And Toby Haynen, certainly bad news for Toby at this stage. He has pneumonia. He'll be heading to Barcelona 3 days earlier than the rest of the Olympic swim team. They should know today how serious Toby Haynen's pneumonia is.
We wish him luck. Thanks for that, Brian. Today, AFL, Brisbane, Fitzroy and Essendon live from midday. That's North Hobart, Melbourne time, straight after SportsWorld in a few minutes' time, followed by West Coast and Sydney from Subiaco. Don't forget the test match on Wednesday night. It's Papua New Guinea against Australia. That's Melbourne, Adelaide, Perth, 11:30. The games of the 25th Olympiad. Just 13 days now to go to Barcelona and the opening ceremony on July the 25th, live on 7 Sport. And SportsWorld next Sunday, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, 8:30 in Adelaide. We've had a lot of fun. We hope you've enjoyed it. See you next Sunday.
This has been another 7 Sport production, the network of the 1992 Barcelona Olympics.
What is your problem?
7:30 tonight.
You're a girl. Duh.
When girls want to be boys,
Hey, Kitty,
they get advice from real men.
I like to pull up my manly pants.
Full house.
Scratch my manly scratch.
Then at 8,
I'm going out with Earl.
Doesn't mean you have to come back with him.
babies kidnapped by crazed leftovers.
We are desperate. No, not the meaning of fear.
Can he be saved?
Glad to warn you.
Full House and Dinosaurs tonight. Mr. Clean teams up with the meanest canine around. Tom Hanks and Turner and Hooch, 8:30 Monday.
proudly celebrating Melbourne's 150th anniversary. Melbourne's Channel 7. Football 92, proudly brought to you by Mitsubishi Motors, BP Australia, CUB, Westpac, SIO, Vulcan, and Mitre 10.
AFL Live, a Sunday doubleheader from Hobart and Perth. In a high noon shootout, Fitzroy take on Essendon, where the last men standing will retain their finals aspirations, while the losers will be losing touch with the six. Then across the country to Subiaco, where the West Coast Eagles are on a winning roll and come up against the Sydney Swans, who have lost their last 7. But a lot is at stake at North Hobart in AFL Live. Good afternoon and welcome to what should be a great day of football. A doubleheader starting here in Hobart with the match between 8th and 9th on the ladder, Fitzroy and Essendon. And then later in the afternoon we go over to Subiaco Oval for the match over there between the West Coast Eagles and the Sydney Swans. But here in Tasmania, with the beautiful backdrop of Hobart below us here at North Hobart Oval, it's crunch day for these teams. The loser will start to lose touch with the top 6 with not many weeks to go before the finals, and the winner will still be in touch. Fitzroy, it's a home game for them. They're unbeaten here this season. They won a Foster's Cup game against North Melbourne by 2 points, and they beat the West Coast Eagles here by 20 points. Let's have a look at the last time these two teams met, and it was in round 2, an amazing game at the MCG. Fitzroy won it by 52 points. They led by 94 at three-quarter time, and the Bombers kicked 11 goals in the last quarter. With me in commentary today, Ross Glendinning. Your first time down here. Not a bad little outlook, is it?
It's very nice here, Drew. In fact, the ground a bit heavy. The game played previously was under very difficult conditions, so the players will find that heavy, particularly some of those state players, Drew, on the heavy ground from the previous week. But still, it is going to be a great contest, I think, and both sides in reasonable form as we go to look at this team. Fitzroy first, and changes made there for Fitzroy. Osborne and Douglas come in. Out are Satori and Barrett, and the goal-to-goal line of Lynch, Ruse, Broderick, very, very good. And that following of Stevens, if he starts in the ruck, will be an interesting one. Now looking at the Essendon team, Flood and Spawn named on interchange there. Kilpatrick, a player I think coming from North, has done very well as a youngster. Chris Danaher in the centre, I think a big job there. And Wallace at centre half back, as we've read through the week, did such a good job in trying to combat Tony Lockett last week. Also a big ask of him on that half back line.
And there's the Essendon team out there. 5 of them played in the state game during the week on Tuesday night in Adelaide. It'll be interesting to see how much sting it took out of their legs, whereas Fitzroy just have the Victorian captain, Paul Ruse, doubling up after that game. We'll be joined in commentary. We have 2 Brownlow medals between the 3 of us because Gerard Healy joins Ross Glendinning and me in commentary. And down on the ground, it's a pleasure to welcome to the telecast, doing his first football game for the 7 Network on football. He's come down from Launceston this morning, and it's good afternoon to Steve Titmus. Steve?
Thanks very much, Drew. Well, the expected maximum temperature today is 11 degrees. It's already passed out at that at the moment, and it's up to almost 13 degrees. The sun is shining, and the forecast for this afternoon is, in fact, for cool, cloudy conditions with sunny periods. And the ground at the moment, well, it's soft for over most of it, but there are heavy patches, particularly around the centre. The wind condition, well, there's nothing really to speak of at the moment. But if the wind does get up this afternoon, well, it should favour the right of screen. The atmosphere out here in the ground is quite electric.